We're going to have a look at creating a Spring Boot and Angular application. Basically, Spring Boot will be a little server with a microservice installed, which we'll create, and we'll use the Angular framework to provide the front end to display data from this service, and we'll look at linking the two together. So the first thing we're going to concentrate on is the backend, the Spring Boot microservice, and we will use the Spring Initializer to create a basic framework. This you can find at the URL startspring.io, and you can choose what kind of project you create. I'm going to create Maven projects, and I'm going to use Java as a language. All of the metadata I'll just leave as is, package, etc. base package. Packaging will be jar. I'm going to use Java 11, which means that I'll need to use Spring Boot 2.7.6. If I choose Spring Boot 3, for example, I'll need to move up to Java 19. And I need to add a dependency, which is Spring Web. I want to click Generate. And it downloads a little file, demo.zip. Now, I'm using Ubuntu, WSL Ubuntu on Windows. So this, the operating system here is Windows 10, but I'm running Ubuntu 10 on the Windows 10 hypervisor. So this Windows console here is Ubuntu 10. And what I'll do is I'll create a directory called project, copy it to here, and I'll run unzip. You may need to install the unzip command. And you'll see that I'll get rid of the original source file. You'll see this directory called demo. What I will do is open this in IntelliJ. Now again, what I've done is I've installed IntelliJ on the Ubuntu backend, but I'm actually running an X server. So I'm running a VC X server on the front end, so I'll see here, it looks pretty much like I'm running in a Unix environment, but it's actually the front end has been displayed on Windows. What I need to do is create a new project. Of course, it's opening everything on the main screen. Is it now to open a project that exists already? My bad. Go into my project directory, demo, and here we go. Just open the POM and it will open it as a Maven project. Open this project. Yeah, I don't want to trust that project because I've just created it. Here we see we've opened the project up in IntelliJ, and if we have a quick look around, we've got source, main, source, main, and test. Test is where your unit tests go, and source is where your application is, and it's a basic. Spring Boot has basically created a basic application which will run. I think you can think if we just type go to demo application and click run, it will do something. So it's compiling, and it's open on port 8080. So let's have a look at what that does. Okay, it is running. What's demo application actually do though? Doesn't seem to do a great deal apart from display an error page, which is probably what it's supposed to do. So let's actually put some code into this. And what we'll do is we will create a new file, a new Java class, which we will call, it's going to be a main class, let's call it application. And we'll get rid of demo application, So let's delete that. And we'll put a little bit of code in here. There we go. Now, we haven't got imports for a lot of these things because it's IntelliJ. If you hit Alt, Enter, it will that must be Spring Framework, command line runner. So what have we done? We created an application. It's got a main, and that basically calls the run method on the application class, which will run this, which will display application started. What we want though, what we're going to do is we want to be able to not simply do anything. We want to create another class, which we'll call message controller. This is a controller. If you think about your pattern model view controller, this is the thing that's actually processing requests, end user requests, and it's going to provide a little interface that will serve, messages to a front end. It's basically a microservice that will return JSON when it's called. You're going to see it's very simplistic. And as you can see, it's going to be a REST type controller. Our mapping is just the root, and it returns JSON. In fact, it's the Spring Boot framework which will transform our name value pairs into JSON. So we have a hash map in which we've got name value pairs, so ID and then a message, and that gets transformed into JSON by the Spring Boot framework. And we should probably have a little test for all of this, so we can get rid of that one, or refactor it actually, and we will call it message controller. Message controller test, how about that? Has to have test on the end, or it won't get picked up. Put in some new code. But be careful with this media type class, because sometimes it pulls in the Java AWT media type, which isn't the one you want. So that looks okay. So what we're doing is we're testing the get message interface. If we go back to the message controller, we're testing, in fact, the mapping, it's the root path. So the actual method name doesn't matter, but what we're doing is calling the root path. We're expecting JSON, we're checking the results okay, 200. And we are checking that if we go back to the message controller, we have an ID message and a value, which is hello from Spring Boot. And so we're checking that the returned message in the JSON is equal to hello from Spring Boot. What we'll do is we will run that. We'll run it from IntelliJ, but you can run it from the command line. If you run a test, you need to run, just test. I think the problem was, because we'd already run the project, that it created, I've just seen here on the error, it's a good example, and it says that there are multiple Spring classes and it says Spring Boot configuration. So what we need to do, I think there was the old demo class that existed, so we do a clean and then run test. It should work. There you go. Test run 1 and it's passed. If we change something and we change what we thought was the response message, you'll see that it fails. Yeah, there we go. It wasn't the expected results. This is a simple unit test, very practical. And to run the program itself, we'll go back to our Spring Boot run goal. Says it started, and if you go here, you see that our service is now returning a little bit of JSON, which is basically a message with hello from Spring Boot. So that's the back end done. And what we'll do now is use Angular to display that message in a web page in an Angular application. So it's a very simple example. Just to recap, we have an application which is the entry point into the Spring Boot microservice, and then we created a separate controller. So we're separating our code out. And at present, we respond simply to get HTTP get on the root, and we could change that to /message if you like, and have something else for the root. The root could just be a bit of boilerplate how to. Anyway, in this, we return a map to the Spring Boot framework. Spring Boot framework will translate that map into JSON to return to the end user. And in the map, we can put in one or more values. So we can have message 2, message 3, message 4, etc.